how important is course management? Like, how much could it help the average golfer?
Massive, probably bigger than all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like I said to you on the range earlier on, like, what's the point in knowing how to swing the club properly if you pick the wrong club? Like, there's no point flushing a golf shot if it goes 20 yards long, or if you stand on a tee that's not driver, hit driver flush, and you lose your ball and make triple anyway.
Yeah.
So the decisions you make a lot of the time will give you comfort enough to swing it the way you want to swing it. So I'd say it's pretty big.
Yeah. So obviously it's all well and good flushing it on the range.
Yep.
But out on the golf course is where it counts, isn't it?
Sure is.
So we're going to play a few holes, and I think the plan is that you can kind of talk us through like how you approach each hole.
Yep.
And then sort of each shot, like kind of what your plan is, what you're thinking about.
Yep.
And then we'll sort of do the same for me. So like almost as if you're my caddy.
Right.
So if you weren't hitting it as far as you do, and probably quite as solid as you do, how would you be approaching the holes differently?
Okay.
So
Let's do it.
this is what, the 10th?
No, this is hole 12.
12.
Think about that, hole 12, yeah.
At Haythorpe Park.
It is.
So talk us through the hole a little bit.
So the hole's just it's kind of a medium length par 4, probably about 420.
Yeah.
Tree in the middle of the fairway, bunkers to the left, just kind of, it dog legs very kind of subtly to the right hand side. There's not really too much up there. It's a little bit different now because they've grown the rough up on the right, but it used to be kind of during the winter it's a much more simple hole. But yeah, there's not really too much going on. For me, I'll just kind of take it straight over or just to the right of the tree, but then we'll obviously talk through the best route for you to do it. But yeah, just a pretty standard par 4. Green's quite slopey, so you definitely want to be as far down there as you can so you can be coming in with a wedge so you can control your second shot.
And how much do you think about kind of which side of the fairway you want to be on based on kind of what angle you want into the green and that kind of stuff?
In a tournament you have to think about it a lot more because most pins are like within 3 or 4 yards of an edge of a green.
Yeah.
And if you're missing one side, it obviously creates big problems. And like we said on the range earlier, like when I spoke about course management, setting up angles, when you've got a pin that's that tight, you need to give yourself a bit of room for error. When there's not like tour rough out there, I a lot of the time will just go whichever route makes the hole shortest.
Right, yeah.
And try and get it as close to the greens as possible. Whereas obviously if we were playing today on tour and that rough on the right was kind of 3 or 4 inches long and you're struggling to get any stop out of it,
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit more wary about it.
You normally hit what, little draw off the tee?
Normally, yeah.
Like, would you mix that up based on the sort of shape of the hole and where the danger is, or you always hit that draw?
If you'd have asked me before this season, I'd have said I just always hit the draw.
Yeah.
Because I knew that's my shape and I just got on with it. Whenever I tried to fade it, I'd always either double cross it, so there's no point me trying to do it anyway,
Yeah.
or I'd just hit big pushes and think that that's a fade. This year I've been a lot different. Now I'm swinging it a lot better. I can actually get a bit more on top of it and hit the fade. I still don't enjoy hitting a fade if, let's say there's water left but nothing to the right.
Mm-hmm.
I will try and hit a fade knowing that I can miss right if I do overdo it, knowing that I can hit the fade.
So you'd rather
I'll
have it
overdo it a
shaping
little
away,
bit. But
shaping away from the
if I
trouble.
can't miss left but also it's out of bounds right, I wouldn't hit a fade down there because I'm not comfortable enough to know that I can only cut it 5 yards, or I haven't quite got those boundaries down yet.
We were talking before about kind of teeing it up on one side of the tee box, give yourself the best angle. Looks like you teed it up in the middle. Is that
No, you caught me out there. Why'd you have to do that? No.
Start that again. So
if I was to do this, I would, like, if I was going to talk through the hole, because I'm going to try and go right of the tree, I'd probably tee it up on the right just to kind of, so I don't have to move it as much. I wouldn't have to draw it as much if I tee up to the right, because the green's probably in line with about 5 yards right of the tree. So for my perfect line would almost be the little tree right of the big one.
Yeah.
So what I'd do on here, I'd tee up right so I could almost just hit it relatively straight. If I all of a sudden go to the left here, I'd have to hit a big slinger.
So do you invariably tee it up on one side or the other? Not.
I generally try to give myself angles all the time. I find with the angles it just again, it gives you more room for error, and that's what this game is. Like, the smaller your misses, if you can give yourself an opportunity to miss a little bit more, it just means that hopefully there'll be less penalty shots.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd be doing. I'd tee it up here, and then my line would be through the. I'd hit a little draw off the little tree just to the right of the big one. That'd be the plan anyway. Right, should we give it a smack? went over the little tree, it just didn't draw.
Nice straight ball.
Yeah, nice straight one. It went where we were looking, so
Yeah.
pretty happy with
Alright.
that one.
And so, if you were me,
Yep.
how would you be approaching this?
If I was you, I would still be going down to the right hand side of it because the whole fairway goes right to left, but
Okay.
it just means that you might hold it up in the rough a little bit. The problem with going to the left hand side is you'd have to hit something less than driver,
Because you got that bunker
just
on
in
the
case you
corner.
ran it into the bunker.
Yeah.
And the problem is if you didn't quite get the strike and it cuts a little bit and doesn't get the flight that you need, you just pummel it into the tree.
Right.
If you get it a little bit right. So my advice would be I kind of like it right of the tree, or if you can, just make sure on this shot, if you were to aim over the tree, but just make sure you get the height and not really worry about shape or anything like that. Just focus on getting it up in the air.
Yeah.
That's probably the play.
Okay.
Ideally you want it finishing almost directly behind the tree.
Because how far away is the tree?
Not very. I think it's like 220 to the tree.
Right, okay.
Or something in that. I could have just made that completely up, by the way. I might get my laser and actually give you a better answer. But no, I like driving down there. I hope it is 220. 175.
That's why you're not a tall caddy, mate.
Yeah. So it's actually, I guess the flight you'd need to get over it was 220. That's what I was going
Is that
for.
what you,
Yeah, so
you factored that in?
yeah, it's got to be 220 through the air.
Right, yeah, clever.
But yeah, no, but the other reason I like right of the tree today is also the wind's off the right. So trying to hit a fade up the left side with this strong wind off the right,
Yeah.
it's not really giving you, again, much room for error, whereas if you go up the right hand side, obviously if you cut it a little bit, the wind will hold it. If you get the draw going, you can't really overdraw it round there. So I'd be saying almost split a goal between the big tree and the little tree that I went over, and just let the wind do what it needs to do. Okay? And get that whipper going.
Whipper.
Yeah, it's perfect. Good drive, mate.
Oh.
That worked.
Yeah. Don't try and make excuses.
I know, I've had a mare there.
What's happened? Whose ball's this?
Well, I've probably given you a little bit too much of my information on the driving range, but you've definitely definitely you. Mine's not quite as far.
Not quite as far. That's weird, isn't it?
How far have we got? You've hit that like hole's like 420, and you've got 75 yards to the pin.
It's all about that whip, mate. I'll teach you it if you want. All you need to do is get a few towels in your garden.
You've hit that like 340, 350.
Yeah, easy.
Well, we did say on that first ever video we did, didn't you, about the 340, 350 drives. I told you I'd show you how to hit one.
Yeah, cheers. Alright, so what do you say we got? 70?
75.
75?
Yep. That
Is that-
pin's in like a little bowl. Basically, if you go past the pin, you can't really see it. There's like a little bit of a drop off just past it. It's actually on this wind. It's quite a tough pin to hit.
Right.
Like if you was playing this in a tournament, you'd almost, I'd possibly go a little bit right of it, which isn't the play you'd want to play to this pin, but it means you can keep it on the level. Actually stopping it somewhere between the front of the green and that drop off area is pretty tough on this wind.
Yeah.
Particularly if the greens have picked up speed like they said they have.
So how far would you be looking to carry it?
If it's 75, it looks like it's probably about 9-10 on. So I'd be literally trying to land it just on the front edge. So I'd probably be looking at about 67
Right.
or something like that, because you're not really going to be, you're going to struggle to stop it into that pin.
Okay, and if you're a 5 handicapper,
Mhm.
I'm guessing you're then going to play for like slightly more.
If I was a 5 handicapper, I'd just be accepting that to get to that pin's quite tough.
Yeah.
I'd probably try and carry the yardage where I said, and if it rolls over the back, just accept that not every pin's accessible, because I don't think that one is overly accessible.
No. Because when you're talking about sort of landing it right in the front, my thinking is if I hit that not perfect, is it gonna?
If it comes up short, the
Yeah.
problem is you're bringing bogey into play. Whereas if
Yeah.
you just make sure, which is why I like the thought of going a little bit right of it, because there's actually a bit more of a backstop to the right, because it's just this front left portion where it falls down into the hollow. Whereas to the right of it, it'll probably give you another 4 to 5 yards of run out. So that's what, if I was you, I'd almost be going 5 yards right of it, still trying to just fly at 67, but kind of err on the side of caution a little bit. And if you fly at 70 on that line, you should still be okay, and leave yourself like really the big key now is just leaving yourself a 20 footer that you can hold. And if you get anything inside of that, it's just a Brucey bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're not trying to stiff it every time?
Not every time, no.
Okay.
I'll always try my best to, like if there's something I can change that will allow me to, like for example what I said about getting my hands back a bit and taking a bit of the flight out of it, get it rolling up the face a bit more, get a bit more spin. I will try all of those things, but even with that I'm still not sure on this wind if you'd be able to stop it.
Yeah.
Like now you've hit it so far up here, it's
There's a lot of extra pressure.
well, you don't want to miss the green.
Well, that is exactly what I'm thinking.
After a 350 yard drive, or whatever that is. That's crazy how far that's gone. No, just up the back of the tee, it's 345. Give that a good ride, mate.
So the ball feels like it's a bit above my feet. You doing anything to compensate for that? It's just,
You know, because I'm such of a rule for myself. Like whenever I got the ball below my feet, people say it goes right. I always hit it left when the ball's below my feet.
Right.
Don't know if it's because most people react naturally.
yeah.
They just do.
Yeah.
So no, I won't worry about it too much.
Right.
Well, you're aiming right anyway, because we're not going for the pin. We're going 5 yards right of it, so that gives you a little bit of room. If you do flip it over a couple of yards, it's not too much of a drama.
Okay.
And again, just don't forget we're always looking for that commitment into the ball that we discussed on the range. There it goes. Look.
Bloody hell. When you said the ball, I didn't know what you meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But in all fairness there, if you'd have flown it another yard, it probably would have been perfect.
Right.
It looked like it caught the downslope at the front of the green,
Yeah.
and then it took any spin that was on it, it took it out of it.
I thought I played that alright.
Yeah, it was a great shot. Well, you hit it 5 yards right of it, and you landed it probably, I don't know, 1 yard too short. But this is the great thing, and this is kind of what I was trying to discuss on the tee. This is the great thing about course management when you're playing the tough pins. You do have to be a lot more in your room for error is so much smaller.
Yeah.
If that pin was all of a sudden back right, you would have had 15 feet maximum with that shot that you just hit.
Yeah, yeah.
But now all of a sudden you've got to put up a tier, and
Yeah.
it's still not it's not a horrifically tough putt, but it just makes it less chance of making birdie.
Yeah.
But from where I'm coming more downwind than you as well. I'm going to have no chance over the bunker.
Yeah, you've got
All I can do is knock it to where you are and just accept that
Yeah.
it is what it is. Oh look, mine's jumped backwards.
I'll leave it out.
Can't believe that. That's made me laugh.
Is this going to be your last appearance on the channel now that you're upset you've been
Yeah, I think so.
outdriven?
Well, nobody's going to... I'm just going to become irrelevant. They don't need to watch me to hit it a
Some
long
people
way.
are asking me like, oh Liam, how'd you hit it so far? But
Yeah, maybe you should do it.
yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, mate, those smash bag drills. You're just not holding on to it.
No.
It's amazing how many people go on the smash bag for the first time. They're like, why made it 20 yards further? It's like, because you're actually releasing the club head now. Club head speed means it's got to be swinging, not holding on for dear life.
So how are you seeing this?
Pretty similar to what I just said to you, really. Like I literally can't stop this anywhere near it.
No. So you've got to accept that and then not make a mess of it.
Yeah, basically. Like, if you look where yours is there, you've probably only got about 18, 20 feet.
Yeah.
But because obviously you've got the tier in the way, it just makes the putt a little bit more complicated. So yeah, so I'm going to kind of, at address, all I'm going to do is just kind of put my hands back slightly, because then it should help the ball. It should take it'll make my hands a little bit more dead, which means then the ball can just kind of roll at the face a little bit more. Try and just get maximum spin on it, really. I don't really want to be hitting it hard because I won't be able to stop it.
Show me that hands thing again.
So I'm basically just going with them a little bit more behind, more into my belly button rather than in at my left groin. Because if I get too much sharply, and the problem is it's going to come out so flat, I've got no hope of stopping it.
Right.
So I'm trying to basically, by doing that, just trying to get it to, I'm still going to be hitting down, but I won't be hitting down with a big divot.
Yeah.
I'll just be hitting down with a bounce more, so it rolls up the face. We'll try and get the spin that way. I need soft spin, I don't need drivey spin.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we can do.
Sounded nipped. Is it good? stop short.
I managed to do that. But I definitely spun. So the theory was right.
Yeah.
I literally landed on the front of the fringe. I thought that was perfect.
There we go. So when you're
Pure.
obviously walking up to a green,
Yeah.
having hit it, when do you start sort of thinking about like your putt and kind of where you're going to be lining it up and all that sort of stuff?
First thing I do is obviously I use aim point.
Yeah.
So I met Jamie about 18 months ago. Huge, very, very skeptical about it. Been shown it before from somebody who obviously didn't know what they were on about, missed a couple of the key points out of it, so I kept missing everything high and I was just like, oh, this doesn't work. Went and saw Jamie about it and become really good friends with Jamie now.
Jamie
Donaldson, yeah, down at Woburn. And yeah, so I'm now an aim point, so I really don't overly think about it. I get onto the green and then just start going through my aim point. I don't really look at anything because my eyes tell me things that you got to remember. When you get on a green, good course design, they put stuff there to trick your eyes, and then people after a putt will go, how does that go left or right, or whatever. That's the whole idea. So when you start feeling things through your feet, you take all that out of it, and that was the hardest thing with aim point for me, was the first couple of months is trying to not
stop
use
looking.
my eyes. And it was really, really tough because you'd be stood on a putt, you go, no, it doesn't look like that much, or and every single the way then you start to trust it is, number one, you use obviously a slope, I keep forgetting the name of them, the digital reader, and it tells you the percentage of the slope on it, and then that's, so when you're practicing you're like, well, I know this is a 3% slope, so yeah, it is. And but yeah,
pace wise, do you like to see things kind of dying into the hole, or do you always want to put it kind of 18 inches past?
Even that, Matt, I think it all varies. Like if I'm going uphill, I'll try and ram it in. If I'm going downhill, I'm literally trying to die it in the top. It all just depends what putt I've got. So this putt here, for example, it's on big kind of right to left slope, downwind. It's gonna try and get away from me. So I won't be overly aggressive with this putt, because particularly if this was like middle of summer, which I guess it should be, but if the weather had been good and it was everything had firmed up, the problem is you start getting aggressive on little putts like this, it's not long before I'm down by you. So it just varies really on the slope and stuff like that. It varies putt to putt. All
right, let's see it then.
Cool. So
flag out.
I've got it as a 3% slope, so I don't know what pace the greens are yet.
Oh,
Story of my life.
savage. That's good, mate.
Thanks, mate. I thought I got that, to be fair.
So did I.
Might have just been smidge firm.
Green looks pretty quick.
Yeah, it's not, it won't be rapid.
I mean, I know I've got this big up slope I'm going up.
How far right, left are you aiming?
Probably only like 1.5 cups, 2 cups.
So if you used to go up to the hole, could you put a T-peg level with the hole where how far out you'd read it? Just out of interest, just to see. Right. There. Okay. So at 2% slope is saying, it's not far away actually. It's saying there. Yeah, that's about where my blue tee is, about 2%. But if you go for yours, and then it'll be interesting to see how far this side you miss. As well, really.
Didn't actually quite start on the right line.
Most amateurs underread putts quite a lot. Like I can't remember the stat that Jamie told me, but it's quite scary actually. And even me, when I first went, I was probably underreading putts by a lot. Anyway, I can't.
As in not giving it enough break.
Yeah, and the thing is, what people see is, because all they see is the front of the hole. Like the front of the hole for this putt isn't directly in the middle of the cup. It's more towards the left side.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to drop it in that, like I said when I just tried to show you, like I think from what I saw your putt do with the pace it was on, I just think it's a 2% slope. You just underread it by like that. Yeah. Which all of a sudden you've got a 2 to 3 footer coming back, whereas if you'd read it properly and hit it a little bit harder, then all of a sudden you're just tapping in. It takes a lot of stress out of it.
Do you think that feeds into pace, so people haven't read it enough and they end up hitting it too hard?
Yeah, exactly. But because people's subconscious mind, they do take over.
They sort of know they haven't given it enough.
So, or they start, most people when they talk about yippee strokes, it's normally a compensation for the fact that they've not read the putt correctly and then not aligned themselves correctly. So their subconscious mind knows they're aiming too far right, so they hood it down or turn over, or they know they're aiming left's the funniest one. It's like people see them aiming left, so they like yip it out to the right and then think they've got a yippee stroke, but it's not. It's just because they've not read the putt properly and then align themselves up correctly. So like if I was to go on the 2% slope, you're looking a lot more kind of here. But again, you see, I'd rather miss like that every time.
Yeah.
But then if you could just do that 18 times, you're going to take a lot of stress out of the game and it's going to be a lot less draining for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than kind of constantly having 3 to 6 footers coming back after a poor first putt.
Yeah. So par 3.
Good hole this is. This is a good par 3.
It's a good looking hole. How far is it, do you know?
194 pin.
194 pin, is that?
Looks like the pin's towards the back. Again, talking about tiers on these greens are pretty big here, so the right side's kind of portioned, so the front bit does tend to run to the back. Probably 5 yards left of it, it'll run down like it did on the last. It'll run down to the left, and then there's the back portion which is generally flat the whole length of the green. But yeah, if kind of when you're coming into this green, I'd kind of err on the side of caution just to the right of it a little bit. Wind should be in to out the right, so but the problem is you can't feel anything here, so
yeah,
it's knowing exactly how much it's there.
So that pin looks like it's sort of quite a bit over to the right.
Yeah, it is.
But you'd still be aiming right of it?
Yeah, because the thing is every slope on the right hand side kicks it in. So if you hit it up on the top of the bank, it should, as long as you fly it far enough, it should kick down onto the green anyway. And then the whole green runs right to left.
Right.
So yeah, so I quite like, I'd be aiming slightly right of it, particularly knowing the wind's off the right as well. So the wind's off the right and into, so it's going to be spinning a bit right to left as well.
So same, even if you're a 5 handicapper, you're still kind of taking that ploy rather than thinking like, where's the middle of the green?
Even if you had a chip from the right hand side, it'd probably be as easy of a chip as it would again a putt up the tier, because putting up tiers, generally the amount of times you see amateurs 3-putt when they're changing kind of elevations, like a chip with a flat chip would probably be as easy to get up and down as 2 putts. So
especially after a short game tutorial.
There you go, especially after that.
Right, so 194, you reckon the wind's doing what in terms of hurt and help?
It should be hurting off the right, but it feels on our back right now.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But if you think to the last hole, it was straight, it was down off the right. On the range, it was off the right. So the range is kind of that way, so it should be this way.
Right.
Should be into off the right.
So what club are you going to be hitting?
Good question. If it was 194 normally, it'd just be a standard 7.
Yeah.
But I think into this wind, if it is into wind, which we'll find out if I airmail the green by 20 yards, it should be a like a little 6 iron.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Let's take both and have a little look. But it's just such a hard tee box this because you can't feel the wind, and obviously some people say look up to the clouds. There's not really any today.
No.
So we can't see those bad boys moving. It doesn't feel into wind, does it?
It doesn't, no, it feels down.
Like it feels like it's like that way,
yeah.
Which is the opposite. But this is the problem sometimes when you stood in trees, it can blow in and funnel round. So it's saying it's down the wind, the grass, but it shouldn't be. Either going to hit a 7 iron and leave it 30 yards short, or 6, and let's go 7 and see what happens.
If you're between clubs,
yep,
would you rather hit an extra one, take off it, or sort of hit the shorter one and like?
I would hit whatever I'm hitting fully, and I would just play. So say for example this hole, anything longer the green isn't ideal.
Right.
Anything on the front fringe, or obviously the pins at the back, so I've probably got a good 12-14 yards of green short of it, which means I've only got 180 to the front. But even if I only hit it 175, it won't, as long as it's on line with the pin, it's not really a big problem, just chipping up the green.
All right.
So that's why I always, on this hole in particular, when I play it quite a lot, I always kind of err on the shorter side, just because I don't want to be really chipping backwards, because you're coming down green off of a downhill slope. It's not an easy chip.
You say you've gone 7 or 6?
I've gone 7.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Just try and make contact with it. definitely not into wind.
No. That's pin high though, isn't it?
Yeah, pin high about 20 foot left.
Yeah.
Should have given that one of those after, shouldn't I? I need to get used to this YouTube stuff.
You've been on it enough now to rename the channel. Right, so you said it's 175.
So that was my stock 7 iron.
Yeah.
Is like, oh my god, what is it? It's normally like about 189.
Okay.
187 to 189 would be a stock 7. The reason I was hitting 7 there was at 194. I just thought kind of 6 yards short of it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I flew it all the way there, so I'd say the wind's not really.
194 is the pin.
Yeah.
Right.
See how much of a big boy you are now after that drive on the last. See if you can. He's got a 7 iron now. Surely now he's got my club head speed. I think whatever you would normally hit 194. See, it feels like the wind's flipped now.
What I normally hit 194 is a 4 iron with a 4-yard bounce.
See, look at this now.
Oh yeah, now I'm playing into. Definitely into now, isn't it?
100%, yeah. I think it was when I hit it. I think I just flighted it pretty well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what it was. You just made me angry on the last. Oh wow.
Try that again.
Yeah. That's just that swing though, Rob, where when you get it to here, instead of just and it's really interesting the first time you're into wind.
Yeah, I didn't feel that comfortable. I was like,
no, people's tendency when they get into wind is obviously they want to drill it, so their tendency is to pull down.
right.
So generally when I'm teaching the stuff that I teach, like a lot of the time with people, I like to practice into wind.
Right.
Because then they'll start to trust themselves. Like even when I'm playing still now, mate, like that's something that I sometimes struggle with. When I get into the wind, you just try and, if ever you're going to try and get ahead of it, it's going to be when you're into wind, 'cause you're going to want to try and keep it low.
Yeah.
So you just got to trust when you're into this kind of wind that you're just keeping everything soft, and you're gonna get that speed in the flight by staying on top of it and whipping through it. I hope you stiff this now.
Imagine if I hold it though.
Perfect.
The wine might be able to,
Free drink.
might be able to claim it.
Yeah, great shot, mate, that.
Cheers.
There you go then. So into wind, you need to just focus on being softer, turning like you did on the drive on the last,
Yeah.
and then just hit one like that, because that was a joke of a golf shot. Easy, mate. Now, it's kind of good that happened really, that we faced into the wind there. Because it kind of gives you, hopefully after seeing what you saw with the second shot, it should give you flee.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about the second shot. That first one's been deleted by now.
Oh right, okay. With your first shot, so you hit 3 shots, they've all been amazing.
So you're a flag out man all the time, are you?
Yeah, I am from this kind of distance, yeah. If it's long, I'll leave it in now because I've got bad eyes, so it means I can actually see it.
I was really hoping you were going to hold that because I timed it perfectly, zooming out to get the cup in. All right. So that aim point's working all right for you then?
Works all right, mate, yeah. Like I explain it as voodoo.
Voodoo.
And
how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it now for probably about 10 months.
Yeah.
I'd say. And we actually had our last. I host in TGM. We actually do clinics at Woburn with Jamie, and then basically you do 2 hours of Jamie, and then I do 2 hours short game after it. And the last one we had, there was a guy there that he's been so skeptical about it, and I've just kept saying to him, because I helped him out of his swing, and he's got down from like 7 to 3. I think his goal was to get to 4. We got him down to 3 in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And he basically was like, I was like, mate, you need to do it, you need to do it. He was like, no, it didn't come to the first 2, it came to the last one we did, gone away, and he shot like 2 under the other day, and he's just like, it's the best thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, it really is voodoo. He like,
You did it quite quick as well.
Yeah, but anything inside of 20 foot should be a 10-second read.
Right.
So it literally is.
I think that's what puts people off though. They're like, oh, I don't want to be like walking around every angle.
Yeah, you
like...
don't. It's like the express read is, Jamie bangs on about it all the time. It's literally a 10-second read. So you go, however long the putt is, it depends how many times you read it. basically like over that putt that I had there. I read it twice. Take the biggest number and then line your ball up, line your club up, and hit it. That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
Whereas people take longer when they're like, they come to the other side of the hole. They're like not too sure. They'll then go this side, that side, look from behind. Before you know it, it took like a couple of minutes. Oh, he hasn't.
You were worried there, weren't you?
Well, I just thought if you'd aim pointed it, it'd have probably gone in. I'm joking. But no, good putt, mate. Easy.
So, par 4.
Par 4.
Talk me through it.
I'm not actually. I'm just going to zap how far that bunker is next to the green, because that's about.
So it's big dog leg right.
Yeah, because that's like the front edge of the green. So it does go 90 degrees right. It's 315 yards to that bunker.
To the bunker that you can see on the corner.
Yeah, that's the like front edge of the green.
Right.
So basically, like I'm going to give you obviously a different bit of course management than what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, because you can go for the green, but the problem is it's got to be all through the air. So if you're not carrying it through the air like 290, you're not going to get it on the green. It's going to hit the trees and come back into the water. So this is a kind of, if you've got the carry, you're good to go. If you haven't, the only issue I've got with kind of going at it, if I turn it over it all with driver, the problem is I hit it out of bounds into the hedges behind the, like a bit you can see in the distance.
Right, yeah.
But for me, I just like having a pop at this because it gives you a good birdie chance, because I can actually knock it on the surface. So if I couldn't hit the surface, I wouldn't go for it because it's not worth the risk. But to knock it on the surface, potentially make 2, or then obviously 2 putt for a 3, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
But for you, what we'll do is we'll get you playing a little bit more up the left and then flicking it in from like 50-60 yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll have a go at that.
Okay.
And see how we get on. I play is I'm going to hit driver. I'm going to go kind of. I struggle to fade this driver a little bit, but if I would sometimes try and like hold it up off the left side. But because it's into wind today, I need to hit a good one. So I'm actually going to take it really aggressive and go straight at it.
Yeah.
And try and see if we can knock it on the green.
All right.
Can always edit it out if I don't. I'm literally going to try and go through the middle of the trees in front, and I can't miss right and I can't miss left. So it's got to be a good one.
That drawy one.
Sit down. That's pretty good there.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, it's pretty good there, mate. It's into wind today, so the hole's a little bit different, but yeah, it's definitely that's not a bad shot there.
Okay, so for me, I probably won't go for the 290 carry.
Yeah, probably not. Probably a good idea. Although you did it one like miles earlier. You knocked it past me earlier, so
Yeah.
we'll soon find out if it's all carry or not.
So go on.
So driver
Yeah.
still, but I'd be going kind of the bunker in the middle bunker. I'd kind of, you see the 2 crows? I'd almost be splitting those.
What if they move?
Then we'll go kind of right third of the bunker in front of you. No, but
Yeah.
you could kind of with driver, if you're carrying it, I don't know what you carry it,
Right.
but
260.
so I'd say kind of your line then into wind would be kind of on the, you could go anywhere between maybe 5 yards right, 10 yards right of the bunker to kind of the left crow for you to be fine with driver. So I'd kind of go through the right third of the bunker,
The middle
and
bunker.
I'd probably come this side just to, because the biggest miss for you that's going to create a double will be if you go right. So I would tee it up kind of right side of the tee box and go kind of right third of the bunker, if not right edge from over here.
Yeah, so if you don't want to miss it right, you're better off teeing it up on the right hand side and playing a bit away from that.
Play away from it, gives you a bit more margin for error.
Yeah.
And obviously same if you've got trouble on the left, go to the left side.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be looking at. Yeah, so from here, right third of the bunker, middle of the fairway, wedge on the green, hold the putt, and we can go home.
Right, so sort of
Driver, right half of the bunker.
straight little fade.
Just a normal shot. The good thing about what you've done by setting that angle is you can hit whatever,
way,
you can hit
yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
It gives you the room to go anyway.
Yeah.
Should be alright.
Yeah, slightly more aggressive line than I planned.
Yeah, just that, the thing is if you were playing that hole not into wind, that would be actually a really good line. But into wind, this hole becomes a different golf hole. Like even for me, I've gone left of where I normally would.
Yeah.
But if I took that line on a normal day, I'd be in trouble there.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously, like you said, right was the miss that I couldn't afford.
Yep.
And I've missed it right.
Yeah, just the wrong wind really to have hit the line that you hit it on. Like on a normal day, that line would have actually been pretty good, but
yeah,
because it's obviously into wind, you've not got the carry to get past all of this stuff on the right hand side.
So now that I'm in this position,
yep.
Like, what would you be doing? I know you wouldn't put it.
Quick look where the bunker is.
You wouldn't put it in the first place, but.
The bunker's just on the left side of that rock in the distance, so so we're going to be chipping out anyway, so
yeah,
as long as we can keep it low enough. Like the thing is, when you get down to kind of ground level, you can see the height of the trees in the distance, so directly at the rock, which is right of the bunker, which then the green feeds right,
yeah,
you've got quite a bit of height on it, so you'll be all right. Like if you got like a wedge or something like that and just try to pitch it just, you see the hill where it starts getting to the plateau of the hill,
yeah,
hit like a pitching wedge or a 9 on some, probably a pitching wedge on something like that, quite hard, like drilled,
right,
and basically then let it run up onto the back left of the green. That's what I'd be trying to do.
So low drilly wedge,
yeah, just at the rocks in the distance that you can see straight through the gap of those trees. And you want it distance wise, pitching wise, you want to carry it just to the plateau of the hill, so just to the top of the hill.
Okay.
Is where you want to be. So it's almost just like a little pitchy punch shot. That's actually worked out perfect.
What are you laughing? Obviously. That was right, yeah?
Tree wedge. No, but like, all joking aside, like the actual shot you played was pretty good, but it just, obviously because it popped out right, the reason we said at the rock is because when you get down to ground level, you can see that the one hanging down bit of tree is the bit that you clipped.
I've been through enough trees, mate, to know that wasn't going to
slow it down, just to slow it down.
Exactly.
That's what you used it as a brake. That's quality. That's actually going to be really close.
I don't know what you're laughing at, that's not
Kicked right and up. Perfect.
So, I don't know how well you can see that, but it is kind of nestled in some pretty lush stuff, isn't it?
It's pretty thick. Yeah.
How does that impact sort of your shot selection and stuff?
You just got to hit it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And trust that hitting it harder. Obviously, it depends. Coming out of this stuff, to the pin that I'm going to, if you're actually going down to the green, it's all like, there's a lot of tiers that are just all working down to that pin. So the reason that the difference between being here and here makes it so much more difficult is because I'm not going to be able to get the spin that I want. Obviously, if I was here, I'd be able to kind of fly it probably up past the first tier, one bounce, check, and then dribble down. Whereas I'm going to have to try and obviously judge the run out and the top spin on this one.
Yeah.
So
60?
Yeah, always. But I'm going to be going left as well. I'm kind of going to be going in probably 10 yards left of it, because it's all going to run down to the right, and just let it run.
Yeah.
It's going to be the plan. Just let the lack of spin do its job. Now this is just going to go that way. Just didn't get it high enough.
High enough as in up
left.
the break, yeah.
Just hit one more. Garbage, wasn't it? Yeah, just kind of, you need to go a lot further left because the side slopes are they're so severe. I needed to go a little bit, probably 3 yards further.
So what do you think went wrong there out of interest? Like contact or?
It's hard to get contact out of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, it just popped up right on me. I didn't necessarily do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Just didn't get the correct kind of strike out of this kind of line.
So that sounded different.
Actually just got that too well off.
Yeah, and that one's not quite wanting to take the slope, is it?
It just didn't run.
But it looked like it was starting on a much better line,
yeah,
didn't
if it had run that one, ideally we needed that start line with the way that ball reacted.
Yeah.
And then but again, that just goes to show, even when you know how your golf ball reacts, like when you get into this kind of stuff, it adds variables that you can't judge.
Yeah.
Whereas if we were on the fairway, no doubt you'd stand there and you'd hit one pretty close.
Cheers, pal.
Thanks, mate.